Thanks for tuning in today for another edition of Front Porch Conversations. I'm here sitting on the front porch on the banks of the Swanee River with Gary Kueppers. Gary, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure today to be able to sit and chat, and I'd like to first mention who's not with us.
My wife is not with us. She is camera shy. She does not like her picture taken or video or anything. So I can tell lies about her. Whatever.
Well, when she and I talked, I thought she was all excited until I realized she was really volunteering you to do it.
Yeah, she volunteers me for a lot.
Well, let's start by let me asking you where you grew up, and so your visitors, our viewers, know a little more about you, Gary.
Well, I was born in Pittsburgh, and I was 10 months old, and my parents moved to St. Petersburg,
Florida.
So St. Petersburg, Florida. I grew up there until after high school. I joined the Army. And then I traveled all over the world for 21 years and then back to Florida. So in the meantime, let's see, I was married when I went in, and I was in Vietnam, and they called me and says, your wife's got a problem. Now this was my first wife. So I came home on an emergency leave, and she had disappeared and left the kids with my parents. So I said, okay, that's stable for right now. So I went back to Vietnam, finished my tour. And when I came back, I was stationed in MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa. And for that 1 year there, I was able to get my divorce. And my sister felt sorry for me, says, I got a girl that works at Honeywell with me that you'd like to meet. So she gave me her name and phone number and says, call her. She's expecting you to call. So it was basically, I called her, we talked for over an hour on the phone.
On the first call?
Yeah, and made a date for New Year's Eve. That was the end of 1971, and I had a date with her New Year's Eve. We went to my sister's house, brought in the New Year, took her home, and I had a date with another girl the next day, and I canceled that. I took Carol out again. And then the third night, I proposed. Now, that was January 2nd, 1972. And we were married February 18th, 1972.
Okay, my math was just...
So that's just over a month and a half. We were married. I had 2 kids. We were together for about 6 months. And the Army decided to send me to Korea by myself. So my poor wife had 2 kids by herself that really weren't hers, but she was stepmother, and we all lived through it.
Wow. That was a quick summary. Yeah. Can we go back and get a few more details, though? Unless you've done everything that fast in life.
We've pretty much done everything that fast in life.
Well, you have no memories of living in Pittsburgh then?
No, none in Pittsburgh.
What are some of your most fond childhood memories?
Well, I like to ride bicycles. So me and a couple of boyfriends, we used to like to ride bikes all over the place. And if you know anything about St. Petersburg, we lived in, northern part of the city, almost to Pinellas Park. And we rode bicycles up to the Clearwater Airport, down to the Sunshine Skyway, and back, all in one day.
About how many miles would that be?
Probably about 15, 20 miles.
That's what I was thinking. Wow.
We had a ball though. Back then, that was back in the 50s, almost into the 60s. So it was, low traffic. It was easy being a kid back then. Mm-hmm. So that was a lot of fun. And
kids had a lot more freedom to do things like that in those days.
Yeah. My parents always knew where I was.
Somewhere in between here and there, right?
Yeah. Either at my house, my boyfriend's house, or in between somewhere. But they knew I was always home for dinner.
Do you, and so you went through high school, all the way through school in St. Petersburg?
Northeast High School. Shortly after high school, I got married. And didn't have any real big skills or anything like that, so my father-in-law talked me into joining the Army and get some skills. And back then, the Vietnam War was starting up, and they were drafting. So I said, if you volunteer and join, you might be able to get a school, education, and stuff like that. So that's what I did. So I went into electronics. And actually, 21 years in the Army, I was always in one form of electronics repair or another. And I ended up repairing IBM mainframe computers. We had them in tractor trailers, and we repaired them, took them to the field, everything. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie and stuff like that. And actually living here with the neighbors so close and everything, and with the church and with all the everybody having the same mindset basically, has almost the same type of camaraderie.
As living on a military base.
As military did, yeah. Yeah. It's very, very nice.
I want to back up a minute. Had the draft was in effect, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember your draft number?
Don't remember the draft number. I remember my original military ID number. Yeah.
Okay, so what was that?
RA1486884. We used that up until the military converted to Social Security number.
No, the reason I ask, I grew up in that era too, and
Yeah.
many of the guys that were my high school class, when we had our class reunion, they all knew their draft numbers, and you could tell by who went in when what their draft numbers were.
No idea what my draft number is now, but I knew all my buddies were getting drafted, so I just got to do something. If I was drafted, I'd probably just been infantry or something, and wouldn't really get any good skills. So.
Where did you serve?
Oh, let's see. Basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Went to Fort Gordon, Georgia for electronics school. Went to Hawaii for 6 months and came back to the States. Let's see. After that, went to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. Been all over. Overseas, I've been to Hawaii, Korea, Vietnam, Germany. The latest was, 75, 78, in those time frame, had the whole family over in Germany. That was fun.
I bet.
We traveled a lot, did a lot with the kids. They have campgrounds over there. We'd get a tent and go camping with the kids and everything. So we enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
Have you met anybody at the village that you knew in the military?
No, not really. No.
Well, maybe after this interview, people are watching, you'll find somebody. Because it's amazing how many people have crossed paths somewhere else here at the village. And
well, we've met a lot of military people here. There are a lot of prior service. So there's a little camaraderie with that. Everybody has experiences that are similar, like Tom here is Navy and stuff.
And y'all still speak to each other, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Army and the Navy.
We don't have anything against the Navy.
Okay. And have you met anybody here who went to your same high school?
No, I haven't. No. Now, I went to college, okay? Kept toying with the idea of doing college. I said, well, what benefit would it be, what not? So my last 3 or 4 years in the military, I buckled down and got all my college education before I retired from the Army. And was in electronics, but I couldn't get any courses or anything in electronics where I was stationed. So the next best was computer programming. So I got a bachelor's degree in computer science. So when I retired from the Army, I would work electronics jobs or programming jobs until I wanted to stay in one place. So consequently, picking and choosing jobs is a little difficult. And I would bounce back and forth. I'd get laid off here, they'd cut people here. So I always found something, kept going. So whenever we were last in Wesley Chapel, north of Tampa, and we were ready to retire, or my wife was, she's 2 years older than me, so she was ready to retire. We bought some property up North Florida in McAlpin, and we checked with her finance advisor, and says she wanted to get cleared with him that it's okay for her to retire. We have enough money saved up and everything. He says, sure, no problem. So she retired at age 62. 2 weeks later, I got laid off. So we says, well, now we're close to retirement. We have property up here. Do I keep looking for a job in the Tampa area, or do we just go ahead and move up here? So we decided we'd move up here. So we put our place up for sale, and it sold, and that was right at the peak of the housing boom.
Good time.
We sold and moved up here, lived in a RV over in Lake City while we had some land cleared, had a well and a septic put in, had our manufactured home built to our specs, put it on the property, and at that point everything was paid off. So I didn't need to work. We had enough with my retirement, military retirement pay, and her Social Security to take care of everything. But then we decided, well, we want to put in a driveway, nice driveway, because we were just having sand at that time. And we wanted a barn and this, that, and the other. So I worked for 4 weeks at a Dodge dealership selling cars. I didn't like that, so I quit. So I just waited until I was retired, say age 62, and then we went ahead and got all that done.
And what year did you move to McAlpin?
We've been McAlpin 10 years, we've been here 4 years, so about 14 years ago we moved to McAlpin.
And how did you find out about the village?
Living in McAlpin. Running into the bus, ACV, and all this stuff. Wonder what that is. So we came out and investigated it. I actually volunteered at the wood shop here for a year before we moved here. So I knew Dick Rillo and a bunch of people and knew what to expect. I had a workshop in McAlpin, so to see what they didn't have in the shop here that I had at my shop, I brought out here before I retired and before we sold everything. So I donated a whole bunch of tools and stuff like that out here. And then what we had left there, we sold it all at an auction and then moved on out here.
Having had the experience prior to living here, what surprised you about living here?
Well, the appearance of the place being run like a mission rather than a business. It's more mission oriented. Not just church and the missions that the church supports, but the people here, the land, maintenance, all this stuff is more mission oriented. They don't have a permanent source of income. The rent and all this stuff does not really cover all the expenses of the village. So there's that mission side that has to be done in order to cover everything. And I was surprised. I thought it would be just a business and you know, we could live here and not worry about anything. But we've gotten more into, well, they need to have this problem here, so we donate some money there, or we donate time here, or donate, you know, so we try to help out where we can.
Well, and I know you and Carol are both very active volunteers, and we appreciate that here at the village.
We try to do our part while we can.
And everybody else, I mean, that's, to me, one of the benefits of the village, is that people don't retire from life when they move here.
Oh, no.
I mean, you're encouraged to do things, and that it benefits the village and it benefits those who come after us and our neighbors. So.
That's true. That is true. And staying busy keeps you younger too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I know we're both under 50 by that saying, you know, by keeping us younger.
Oh, yeah.
I made a comment to Tom a few minutes ago before you got here, and he said, "Oh, you're 50 yet?" But he was joking.
Well, in my mind, I'm still 25. You know?
I think I'm a little older than 25 in my mind, but not a lot. I know one of your big interests is photography. You have a number of hobbies, but when did you first get interested in photography?
Oh, as a kid, my mother had a 127 film Instamatic camera, little camera. It was after the Brownie box, but she'd take slides and stuff, and she'd let me take pictures and so on. So that was the initial start. Didn't get my own camera until I was in Vietnam, and I bought my first 35 millimeter camera. Had a nice Nikon outfit and everything, but that was the days when everything was manual. You didn't have autofocus, you didn't have auto exposure or anything like that. So I had that until, probably about 15, 20 years ago. And then I finally...
You got a little more serious.
I got another
toys.
camera, the 35 millimeter, but had autofocus and auto exposure, but it was still film. And then I moved up to digital, and I got a little Olympus point and shoot. It had nice zoom and stuff like that. We went on a vacation up to Alaska on a cruise, and one of the things we did was go on whale watch. And every time I see a whale take a picture, the point and shoot, when you push the button, it's got about 2-second delay before it takes the picture. All I got were pictures of water.
Yeah.
So this isn't cutting it. So I went out, I saved up my money, and I got a decent single lens reflex camera. So, and then since then I've even upgraded from that one. I went from entry level to mid level. So.
And I know that you coordinate the Shutterbug Club meetings here and share a lot with people who are trying to improve their skills.
I help people with the Shutterbug Club. I'm the leader of the Branford Camera Club down in Branford, Florida. It's a much larger club. I also manage the photos in the Phillips Center.
Right.
That are on the wall there near the OPR. And those, I basically prompt people and beg people to give me photos of the themes that we have picked out. So then they give me either the digital picture or a photo. I can scan the photo and I'll edit them. We'll make selections as to which are the best 8. And I take them over to Jim Skank's office, print them out, mount them in the frames, and then put a little notice in the FNNs telling everybody to come and take a look.
And you've had a variety of pictures throughout the years doing that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
I always
do.
look forward to knowing when it's going to be and going by to look at all the pictures. And thanks to everybody who submits pictures.
And you were the first to give me themes.
Oh.
So you helped a lot too.
Oh, well, thank you. What is your next theme? It's Christmas right now.
Clouds and Stars is the next one.
Okay, so you've got a heads up to start submitting your pictures to Gary.
Well, you may want to go the next one after that.
Oh, okay.
Which is around ACV. Okay.
All right.
Because it's only going to be a week before I'll be putting in the Clouds and Stars. But around ACV, that's people, places, happenings, whatever. Some nice photos that people have taken. My email address and phone number in the directory, so if you can call me, connect with me, send them to me, whatever.
Great. Now, since Carol is not here and we're going to talk about her,
Yeah.
okay? Tell me a little bit about her work history and where she grew up.
She was born in West Virginia, the panhandle that goes up between Ohio and Pennsylvania, and that's steel mill country. So it's not as pretty as southern West Virginia. But her parents had a grocery store that they ran. So when she was a kid, you come home from school, change clothes, go work in the grocery store, helping customers and stuff like that until they close in the evening, and then you do your homework and stuff like that. So she had an experience with that. Now she had 2 brothers and she's got 5 sisters. And she is the second oldest sister. So she experienced a lot of eating fast before your food gets cold in between customers. And when we got married, she got me in the habit of eating fast. So we both eat fairly fast now. And you see us with other people, we'll be finished sit there and talk with them now where they finish eating. We don't mind. But then she moved to Florida. A family friend moved down and said, hey, if you come down, I can get you a job with Honeywell. So she moved down. They got her a job. She got an apartment. Family asked her, how do they like it? How do you like it down there? All that stuff. She told them. It wasn't too much longer. I don't know how long, but it was not much longer. The rest of the family moved down except for the one brother and sister that had already married and had families up there in West Virginia. So the rest of the family moved down. They retired. After we got married, her dad died, and then the family started moving away, growing up, getting family, starting families, stuff like that. So up until about 2 weeks ago, Carol was the only sister or only of her family still in Florida. But she has one sister that lived in Reno, has moved back down to Florida to Nokomis, south of Sarasota. So we were down there with them over Thanksgiving. That was a trip too. They like to eat expensively.
Oh.
But
well, you can do that fairly easily in Sarasota in that area.
Yeah, they went to Capitol Grill, and everything's a la carte, and it's expensive.
I'm sure.
I think the cheapest thing on the menu was, and it happened to be not a la carte, was was Thanksgiving turkey dinner, and that was $43 a person. And everything went up from there.
Wow.
Well, we had 4 people, and I volunteered to do the tip, and the tip was $80. So if that tells you anything.
You would almost have better paying for the 2 dinners.
Yeah. But it was fun. We
Sure.
enjoyed, we went out to Mayaca State Park while we were down there and stuff. We've been to a lot of parks in Florida, Georgia, different places. We like to travel. That's one of our favorite things to do. We like to eat out. We're probably a good source of information about any restaurants in the area because we've probably eaten at least once. If we don't like it, we won't go back, but we'll try any place once.
Well, tell us a little bit about Carol's volunteer activities here at the village.
Well, she likes to sew, but it's less and less every year. And so sewing has been part of her mission. Doing dolls and stuff like that for kids for Christmas, for the fire station. Last year, I don't remember exactly what she did each year, but the last 3 or 4 years, she's done something in that regard, doing animals or dolls or something. She likes to volunteer for jobs that don't have set hours, okay? And she likes outdoors. So right now, she goes and picks up all the trash that borders the village on 136 and 250, okay? So she'll do both sides of the street, but only the areas that encompasses the village to keep all the trash picked up, and she does that every week. But she can do it at her leisure. If she doesn't feel like doing it today, she'll do it tomorrow.
And I know that both of you are involved in the garden club.
Yes, the community garden club, I'm the treasurer, and I don't garden, but she likes to garden, and she's got 3 plots over there, but she does not grow vegetables. She grows flowers. And she puts it that she's the attractor for the bees for all the people who grow the vegetables.
Well, everybody's got to have a bee attractor.
Exactly. And then she goes she likes to go over there every morning, almost. But the only morning she doesn't go over there is Sunday morning. But otherwise, if she's feeling good and it's not raining, she'll be over there for at least 2 or 3 hours. She'll work her garden sometimes, but most of the time she'll be working common areas that nobody else is taking care of. Cleaning this up, moving that, fixing that, whatever. But she'll spend probably at least 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours at the gardens working. She'll take her tool bag and a drink and a snack. She doesn't work hard, but she works steady. Yeah, she enjoys it.
And that's important. Yeah. And it helps other people.
She does not like to do housework.
Well, now I can understand that. Gary, tell us about, you both have traveled a lot. What are some trips that you're planning coming up?
Well, coming up, we're going to take a short trip up to Atlanta to the aquarium because it's the largest aquarium in this hemisphere. We're going to go to, I don't remember the city, in South Carolina. There's a city that has a lake and they have a iris festival. Ooh. Irises all the way around the lake. And it happens to be that the city has 7 of the 8 or 8 of the 9 species of swans in that lake. And the Iris Festival is about the same time when all the small young swans are born. And so that's going to be a photo opportunity for me.
So well, let us know when that's going to be, and we'll put that announcement in the Friendly Neighbor News.
Oh, okay.
Because others might want to go. I was intrigued.
Yeah. We'll go visit her sister up in West Virginia. We got to go up there and visit them. And usually I wind up doing some odd jobs for her and stuff like that. Big trip in the fall sometime. We're hoping to do a paddle boat trip on the Mississippi River.
The northern part or the southern part?
We haven't figured that out yet. Because I think it's 4 sections of the Mississippi that they do trips in. If you do the whole river, it's 28 days one way. Mm-hmm. But they have 9-day trips, segments. So the advantage of the northern part is that they have locks. Mm-hmm. And she enjoys watching the stuff happening with the locks, different levels and stuff. We previously did a paddle boat ride on the Columbia River, the Snake River out between Washington State and Oregon. And that was 9 days, and it had, I think it was 8 locks.
And with that, we'll lock this up. Gary, thank you so much for being here. And Carol, thanks for letting us tell your story too. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Front Porch Conversations here at Advent Christian Village.